Do not come out to the kids. My God. I am truly disturbed. For real. You guys are grown adults coming out to children. Why do you need to tell a 6-year-old about your sexuality? Explain it to me. What value does a child get out of having such a conversation when they truly don't even understand what's being talked about? As an adult, why?
Coming out as trans to my second graders.
Why, as an adult, are you coming out to a bunch of second graders? Think about that for a second. I am a 27-year-old individual, hypothetically, and I'm instructing a bunch of young children, young, impressionable minds who know absolutely nothing about sexuality for the most part. You're going to tell these kids that you're transgender. At what point is it constructive to even tell the kids about your sexuality? At what point in the lesson plan that you're required to give that your sexuality should make an appearance?
I am trans.
Silence.
At what point in time would you naturally bring this up to a bunch of second graders? So telling my students that I'm trans. Yes, students, I'm trans. Silence. What would the kids have to say to you?
Do you know what that means?
No.
Like, really, that math homework you gave me last night, like how does this work into these equations? Please make it make sense for me. How is that information constructed to the child? Please make it make sense. What would these kids really respond besides what is that, or I don't understand? Like, they have to comprehend what you were just telling them.
It means I was born a different gender than I feel inside.
So you're a girl.
No.
You as an individual are not being paid to teach these kids this. This is not a conversation that you have with children. This lovely teacher here, he admits that the students said they do not understand what trans is. Okay. And then, but he still continued to discuss it. So you're an educator who's not being paid to educate said crowd. However, you're trying to educate that crowd. If I were a 7-year-old, you're talking to me about you're not a boy, you're not a girl, I'll be like, what? Like, what are you talking about? A lot of people might make it seem like, oh, it's important to talk about, but no, let's sit down and be realistic. Even if they did pay the teachers to teach these kind of topics, I'm 100% sure most people would say a second grade classroom is not the place for that topic.
My kids from last year are now in 5th grade and they come visit me almost every day after school. And a lot of them are queer because I am queer.
Incorrect. If you're going to sit here and tell me a lot of your students are queer because you're queer, you're incorrect. This is what I'm saying. Talking about sexuality to children is crazy. Like these are elementary students. You told your 4th grade students that you're queer, so now these kids think they're queer. Like, let's be rational about this shit. They think it's cool because they're impressionable. Like, these kids are not at an age where they're truly experimenting with themselves.
And they figured it out, and so I've become their safe space.
Hold on. So you're going to sit here and seriously tell me that not only are your kids queer, but they figured it out. Mind you, these are 4th graders again, and you're their safe space. How the fuck did you get to this point where you believe that the kids are queer because you're queer? Seriously, make this shit make sense. They think it's cool because you're their teacher.
Today, they found my Guess Who. And they started playing Guess Who, but they didn't play it the normal way. How did they play it? They used things like, this person looks like a lesbian baddie who's gonna come over and make you dinner. Well, which one of these characters is a lesbian baddie that's gonna come over and make you dinner? Oh, Olivia is? Oh, great.
Man, did you not just hear that stupid shit you just said? Did you not just hear the verbiage that you described a 4th grader using in your classroom? Do you really believe that I, hypothetically, as a parent, right, would be okay with that kind of verbiage being used? It's like they're kids. Do you think the kids are queer because you're queer? You mostly talk like that. So kids are definitely just mirroring what it is that they see.
Which character just looks gay? Well, meet Mike.
What the fuck did you... Oh, shit. Oh shit. Which character just looks gay? Ma'am, do you really believe that's acceptable? Seriously, you're telling me you made this TikTok with the utmost confidence and you're reenacting how the fourth graders in your class conduct themselves. Ma'am, you have just shown us how you talk to these kids. Overall, period, point blank. Ma'am, this is unacceptable. And this is what I'm saying. Like, you should not be discussing sexuality in the classroom. Like, how is this shit here constructive to the child and their education? You know what I mean? These teachers are taking the matters into their own hands and essentially just trying to discuss sexuality openly to make it inclusive and safe. And it's like, I get that. But these kids can't apply any of the information that's being told to them. So how is it relevant? You get me? Like, how is sexuality in the classroom relevant when they cannot apply sexuality to practically anything that they're currently doing in their life?
These kids, I'm so happy that they are figuring out who they are and that they're happy with who they are and that they found a safe place. But man, I could never imagine being in 5th grade saying these things out loud.
That's the problem. They're in 5th grade saying these kind of wild ass statements, which you're encouraging as an instructor. Which is the problem. It's like, ma'am, you're the instructor. You're the one guiding these kids. You're the one showing them this is how you can conduct yourself. This is how you can act. Ma'am, this does not paint you in a good picture as an instructor. I'm not an instructor. However, I do understand that you need to conduct yourself in such a way, especially in front of children. Children are sponges. The children will only act in such a way where you guide them to. You're not a great instructor if this is what you're showing us that your classroom looks like. This is not a good space. And it's not because you're teaching inclusivity, but these statements that are being made by yourself about how your kids conduct themselves is very telling about you, the individual. Terms like gay could actually get you suspended in schools if it's said in the wrong manner. So why teach it to kids in such a fashion?
Even though I know they're all okay. I grew up super religious where nothing was okay. And so seeing this happen, I'm like, ah!
Just because you grew up super religious does not change the fact that these statements that are being said, they're all bad. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You're just dramatizing it and trying to make it fun, but you're dressing it up. You're hearing them making these statements and you're not correcting them. Another teacher who I believe should not be discussing sexuality in the classroom.
I have introduced beans to former students of mine as being not a boy or a girl and using they them pronouns, and they reacted positively. However, I kind of stopped the experiment because of my own fear, because I wasn't out to my superiors yet.
Why are you conducting experiments on the kids? Like straight up, why are you conducting experiments on the kids trying to teach them sexuality? Well, not sexuality per se, but gender identity, which does to a degree play into sexuality. So I'm just going to run with sexuality as a whole here. Why are you going to teach kids sexuality and experiment with it? So I raised the question, at what point is sexuality applicable to the children? At what point is it necessary for elementary students, again, elementary students, to have an in-depth conversation about sexuality?
I came out to my bosses. I've been wanting to do this for a while. A kid called me Jack instead of Jackie this morning, and they saw it and thought it was cute.
Like, I'm glad you came out, but you know, you gotta explain experimenting on the kids, please.
So I took that as like an icebreaker, and I was like, so I wanted to bring something up. Kids are questioning if I'm a boy or a girl.
That's an absolute lie. Kids are not questioning if you're a boy or a girl. you had a student call you Jack. That's what I'm saying. Like, you experiment on the kids so they can boost your confidence to help you guys come out. You guys are really using these kids. And it's not about inclusivity. Like, it's not about teaching them to be okay with other people because these kids don't understand what's going on. Like, I'm literally listening to this shit and I'm hearing what you guys are saying, using words like experiment or I'm just coming out to my students. And it's like, none of you have had any real constructive reasoning as to why you did it. None of you have had any value that was given to the kids that's applicable for where they are in life, that this conversation would be relevant to them. Like, it's not that it doesn't make sense that they know about it, but at such an age where the information is not usable, how is it helping them?
That it doesn't really matter if I'm a boy or a girl. What makes them think I'm one or the other, and
what makes you think that you're one or the other is clear that boys don't have big breasts. Males don't physically grow boobs. My chest does not outwardly expand. And that's a very clear sign of someone being a woman. That would be the distinguishing factor that would determine whether someone would perceive you to be a male or a female.
I explained that boys can have long hair, girls can have short hair.
Okay, so if you're going to support your argument with boys have long hair, girls have short hair, your argument holds no fucking chance. Being a male or a female is not determined by hair length in any capacity. I would give you an F for sure. Like, that was a failing grade. That was a failing fucking argument. I'm sorry. I'm glad that you did come out to your superiors. I mean, it came at the expense of, again, using the children in a way that they don't realize they're being manipulated, because you have to sit here and look at this and say, she premeditated this. She intentionally thought out, I'm going to conduct an experiment on them without their knowledge. I'm going to use them as guinea pigs. Oh yeah, the information wasn't necessarily manipulative or destructive in nature, but it doesn't fucking matter. There's a certain point in time where kids will learn all of this shit over time. It does not need to be force-fed to them in elementary. Some of y'all parents, y'all need to get out in the schools. Y'all need to get out in the schools and start saying something, because that shit don't make no sense. Discussing sexuality with elementary students don't make no kind of sense. Y'all tell me what y'all think, man. I want you guys to share this with, like, your parents. I want you guys to share this with your friends and ask them their opinions. Do you think that sexuality or sexual orientation, being transgender, coming out should be discussed amongst elementary students? Do you truly believe that the information being told to elementary students is crucial or critical? At what age do you think it would be best for the kids to even sit down and talk about sexuality? You know what I mean? But those are just some questions that I have for you guys. Please leave your thoughts below for me in the comment section. Tell me what you like, didn't like. I appreciate it, but thank you for tuning in to Damage, and I will catch you lovely folks in the next one. And I'm out this bitch. Yeah!